Cardano ISO airdrops is one of the hottest topics right now. Now, my favorite one of those at the moment is XRAY network, and that's because you can get the tokens for free on top of your ADA rewards. What's up? My name is Caroline and this is Wealth in Progress, where you'll learn how to make passive income with cryptocurrencies. In this video, we'll take a look at XRAY network. We'll look at what the project even is, and most importantly, we'll look at how you can stake your Cardano in their pool so that you can get those sweet rewards for free while you keep your ADA rewards as well. Now, as always, this is no financial advice. This is simply for informational and educational purposes only, and I always recommend that you only invest money that you can afford to lose. However, the good thing with this project is that it is relatively low risk, so you only stake your Cardano in their pool. They don't get access to your Cardano, they only get your voting power. So the worst thing that can happen is that you get less rewards or no Cardano rewards. Now, one more thing before we get started, we're finally advancing to the final stages before the membership site finally goes live. I can't wait for it to launch soon. So if you're interested in getting into the super early bird option, be sure to subscribe to my newsletter down below. This is about the last chance for you to get in for that super early bird option. So go ahead right now into the description and subscribe to my newsletter. Okay, let's dive in. Alright, now there's tons of super valuable information on their website, so I'll only go through the most important parts in this video, but I'll leave the link in the description so you can scroll through all of that yourself and take a look at it in as much detail as you like. So on their homepage, you see a description of what they basically are. So they say they're an advanced DeFi ecosystem for Cardano blockchain platform. So that's one of the parts that I find particularly interesting about this ISO project, because all of the ISO projects are basically DEXs, so this means they're decentralized exchanges that will launch on top of Cardano once the Alonso mainnet is finally live. Now, XRAY network isn't only a DEX, it has a DEX included, but that's not the only thing. It provides a whole lot of other things, and it actually wants to be an ecosystem for Cardano. Okay, now the first thing I'd like to show you is their wallet. So as they mentioned in here, they have their own Lightway wallet, and that is live already. You can see here if you click on the top right. However, the Chrome extension isn't live yet, so you can currently just use it by going to this link, and then this opens up. It's a pretty simple wallet, and they will also launch a Chrome extension, so this way it will make it totally comparable to XRAY. Really simple to use, really straightforward. So if we take a quick look at their roadmap, you can see that this is the Chrome extension I was talking about earlier. They plan to bring this out in Q3, so we'll see if this will still be on time. Then the next thing that I find interesting is their DEX. So you see that's called XRAY Swap. If you click on here, you get to that section. Now you can see that isn't live yet either, and if we go back to the roadmap, you can see that they will launch this in Q4. So this is like all the other Cardano projects, they will launch after the Alonso mainnet goes live on September 12th, but they'll take a bit more time and they will launch that in Q4. Now, if you click through the other options on this website, you'll see that most of the stuff isn't ready yet. So that just shows how super early we are for this project. Right now, we really don't know which DEX is going to perform the best. And since XRAY isn't only a DEX, but actually a full ecosystem, it has a good chance of performing well. But at this point, it's almost impossible to tell. So this is just a great way with that ISO to get in super early at a very low risk. Alright, now let's look at the probably most interesting part for right now, and that is the staking part. So if we click on stake here, you'll get a bunch of information. And if we scroll down here, you can see an interesting graph here. So down here you can see the epochs, and then here you can see the XRAY that have been distributed. And as you can see, this decreases, so this line decreases over time. This means that the more epochs go by, the less XRAY will be distributed to staking delegators. And what you can see is that for the longest time it hasn't reached the max capacity, but now for the last 2 epochs it actually has. So now the maximum XRAY are actually distributed between all the delegators, and I assume that this will stay the same unless people take their ADA out of their pool. Now, in order to get a better understanding of how much is distributed and what's going on with all those XRAY tokens, let's look at the tokenomics next. So if you go to XRAY and then click on tokenomics, you get all of this information. So you can see on top the circulating supply, that's just over 13.5 million right now. And then you can also see the max supply, that is about 406 million. So you can see here that the total supply will be available over a 3-year period. The initial 3-year allocation is as follows. So you can see that 58% is for the Ray network community members, 20% for investors with vesting periods, 14% to the team. They also have a 3-year vesting period, and then 8% for founders and advisors. So what I like particularly with this these tokenomics is that it's very well distributed. So there's only a relatively small percentage for the team and the advisors, and they also have a pretty long vesting period. And what's even cooler is that the majority is really reserved for the Ray community members. Now you can see here what those 58% are made up for. So 25% are for the stake delegators, so that's what I'm talking about right now. And then 33% are for liquidity providers once the DEX is live. Now going back from the tokenomics to the distribution, another interesting fact that needs to be mentioned is listed here. And that is that, so this part says a total of 58% to 78% of all tokens will be distributed. And then it goes on to say, depending on how many tokens will be redeemed at investors rounds. So actually there could even be more than 58% that goes to the community. So it depends on how much will be bought up by investors, and if not all of that part that is reserved for investors will be bought up, the rest will go to the community as well and will be distributed. Now before we get into calculating the staking rewards and then actually looking at how you can stake in their pool to get those tokens for yourself, just 2 more things that I would like to mention that you just need to be aware of that maybe aren't the most positive things. So these are basically 2 small cons, I would say. So for one thing, that is the white paper on top here. You see it's listed, but it's listed in gray, and that's because it isn't live yet. Now ideally you would always like to have a white paper for a new project so that you can see what they're actually planning to do, what's standing behind that project, and they don't have that white paper yet. So that's not ideal for sure, but given the fact that we're so early for this project and that it's relatively low risk to receive those tokens, I think this is something that isn't like the most red flag ever. And then the other thing is that their team is currently anonymous. This isn't super uncommon. There have been tons of pretty successful projects that started with an anonymous team, but what you can see is if we click on about, you can see that their CEO is public, so you can click on his LinkedIn profile and read through that, but that's about it. So we only know about him, but not the rest of the team. What often happens is that they will announce or show the team later down the road. So this also isn't something to be super worried about, but just something to be aware of. Alright, now if we're going back to stake, you can see that there is a calculator. So let's look at that next, because I think it's always exciting to see how much you could get from an ISO like this one, especially if you get the tokens on top of your Cardano rewards. So you can see listed down here is what you'll get basically. So you get 5% ROI with your Cardano rewards, and then you currently also get one ray for every 77 Cardano. Now when I started staking with them, it was for every 50 Cardano, so the longer it goes, the more Cardano you need to get 1 ray. That's just how they set up their distribution, so this will decrease over time. But so let's try a few different numbers. Let's say you have 1,000 Cardano to start with. So you can see you get your 50 Cardano per year, and then on top of that you also get 942 Ray tokens as well. Now of course we don't know what price this will have in the long run, but one thing that I find worth thinking about is if we look at the max supply, that's 406 million. Now if we just assume that every Ray token would be worth $1, that would mean that the market cap would only be about 400 million. Now this is pretty low, especially if we estimate that the market will increase even more. So this will be in like number 150 or something in the CoinMarketCap listing, so that would be pretty low. And if we just assume that it goes to $1, that could mean that you get an extra almost $1,000 per year. Now, of course, it could go much higher or much lower, but this is a realistic scenario for the mid to long term, in my opinion. Alright, now you know how much you could get, or you can calculate that for yourself. Now, let's look at how to actually get them. So it's pretty simple. You just have to stake your Cardano in their pool. If you don't know what I'm talking about, I've got a couple of videos about Cardano staking. I'll leave them on top of my head and in the description down below. So if you have no clue what I'm talking about, go to them first, learn how to stake Cardano in general, and then come back here. Alright, now if we stay on the stake and then go to stake pools, you can actually see what their stake pools are. So you can see here the ticker, they've got 3 at the moment. One is XRAY, the next is XRAY2, and then we've got XRAY3. And you've also got the pool ID and pool hash on top here. You also get all of this information about the stake and the saturation and everything in here already, but you'll also see it in XRAY. So I'll show you how to do that in XRAY. It works the exact same way with Daedalus or any other Cardano wallet. XRAY is the easiest in my opinion, so that's what I'll show you today. So I'm currently in my XRAY wallet, and in order to stake you need to go to delegation list on the top right, and you can theoretically just type in the ticker XRAY and then all of the 3 pools will come up. Unfortunately, there will be a lot of other pools coming up as well. So if you want to be really sure, the best thing to do is to actually copy that pool ID. So before we do that, let's quickly look at the saturation level. You can see here that the first pool has a saturation level of 87%. The pool 2 has 6.9% and pool 3 has 24%. Now, as I've recommended in my Cardano staking pool guide, that I'll also leave on the top of my head, you should usually stake to pools that have a saturation level of 60% or less. So the first one is a bit high, but let's look at the second one, for instance. So we can copy that pool ID and then put it in here, search for that, and then you see it comes up. Now, one thing that's not so nice here is that the ROA is at just over 3%. I'm not 100% sure why that is. So let's just look at the third pool as well, because that has a good saturation level as well. So we'll just copy that, and then we paste that in here. Okay, so that actually looks much better. That can change, of course, so I recommend checking that every now and then. But for now, this looks like a good ROA and also a good saturation level. So this is what I would stake it to right now. Now, in order to do that, you simply need to click on Delegate, and that is the same process. It doesn't matter if you staked it to another pool yet or if you haven't staked it at all. So you just click on Delegate, and then it automatically chooses the whole amount of your Cardano. You enter in your password, and then you click Delegate. Alright, so that has been successfully delegated. So you can go back to your dashboard, and now down here you can see it takes 3 epochs for it to change, and then on September 12th it will go over to XRAY network. Okay, now right now you can't withdraw your XRAY tokens yet, you can't trade them anywhere, but you can look at how much you have received, and later down the road you can also withdraw it there. So I'll quickly show you how to do that. Now you need to go to receive first, and then click on reward. Then you have the generated addresses, that is that stake 1 address. So you copy that address, and then if you go to the XRAY network website, so if you have a stake and then click on track and withdraw here, then you get to this page, and then you can enter this address and then click on add wallet. So you can see right now it needs another 2 epochs for it to actually generate XRAY rewards, but you would then see the accrued balance. So you see how many XRAY you'll have received. You'll see how many rewards you currently get, how many 8 are currently needed for 1 XRAY token, and then you also see the other information. Down here you'll also see a graph, so this is where you'll see all this information, and in here you'll also be able to withdraw them once this is live. You can see here this will be open soon, so this isn't possible yet, but once that is live you'll also be able to withdraw it from here. Alright, so that's it for this XRAY network tutorial. This is what this project is all about, where it's standing right now, and most importantly how you can get those XRAY tokens for free on top of your ADA rewards. If you have any other questions, leave a comment down below and I'll get back to you as soon as possible. If you like this video, hit the like button down below, share with your friends, and be sure to subscribe. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!